I think one of the unique aspects of the Riviera Maya, and I think you guys are at the same level with Puerto Vallarta, but I know other spots like Huatuco and maybe Puerto Escondido, some of the other destinations don't have the same luxuries that we have, which is really never having a true low season of the year where shops and restaurants literally need to close down.
Welcome to the Retirement in Mexico podcast, your guide to a life of sun, sand, and possibility. If you've ever dreamed of spending your golden years under the warm Mexican sun, surrounded by breathtaking beaches, rich culture, and an exciting community, you're in the right place. We're here to guide you every step of the way with expert insights, inspiring stories, and everything you need to know to make your move with confidence. The best chapter of your life is yours to create. Let's do this. Okay, I mean, look, we're both real estate agents. If I'm buying in a different city, different country, I want to hire a professional to represent me. Even though I know real estate here, it's a different world in Chicago, it's different in London. And to think you can go at it on your own, good luck. I would advise against it. Get a reputable agent and for sure get a real estate attorney that's going to go through all the due diligence and review the contract to make sure you're protected. Because I think some of these contracts, especially if it's a development contract, it can be one-sided.
Very much so.
And you won't pick up the fact that it's one-sided sometimes. So it's really important to have that protection with your reputable agent and your real estate attorney. Right, Andrew?
Absolutely, Daniel. And I do think people will fall in love with developments and they'll walk right in, especially when they're on vacation. And that sales representative, one misconception is they think that they're going to save money by going directly to the developer. The developer is paying a commission, whether it's to an external broker or an internal broker. So they're not saving any money, for one. Two, that sales representative is going to tell you that they have created the best real estate development in the history of real estate development, the best amenities, the best finishes, luxury. And then they'll get you to make the deposit and then they'll send you the purchase agreement. In fact, they'll print it out right there because they want to close the deal as quickly as possible. And they'll say, hey, look, our attorneys have vetted this agreement. It is the two-sided, equally created real estate development in the history of real estate contracts. Sign, initial each page. Hopefully it's at least bilingual. And then, and we actually get, tooting our own horn, we get complimented by developers. Because when hopefully that project is finished and ready for delivery, which the vast majority of them are obviously, then it's time for them to take possession of that property. And they don't know what documentation that they're supposed to have. They don't know what a punch list is. They don't know their rights. And unfortunately, it's not the developer's fault. We are in Mexico, but that delivery agent, that's the post-sale person for the developer, a lot of time they're not bilingual. It's a salary position. And so they're trying to walk them through the condo and explain all this stuff. And then at the end of the time, you sign some papers and get the keys, but you don't know what you're doing. And then you got to find a property manager and try to get accounts in your name, all that fun stuff. I can't imagine trying to go through that process on my own.
It's not signing on the dotted line, but there are so many other steps, so many other things happening when you take possession, especially for a brand new build and going through that punch list, making sure everything is going to be taken care of. And if you're taking possession before everything is finished and before all the common areas are done, if it's a condominium building, you're going to start paying maintenance dues and you can't even use the facilities. If the pool is not finished, the gym is not finished, and there's still a lot of construction going around you, are you going to be comfortable living there with all the construction noise? And if you're going to be renting out your place, is your renter, what kind of review they're going to leave, once they check in and check out. So there are a lot of things to consider for sure. Hey, Andrew, in Puerto Vallarta, we use escrow. Do you guys use escrow?
Absolutely.
You do?
I will refuse to do a deal if escrow is not used, especially on a resale specifically. On new inventory, developers aren't going anywhere with your $5,000. That's not good for their business on a deposit side. But with a resale, and I do understand, I don't know if it's the same case for you guys on the West Coast, but it was customary to hand somebody a check or to make a deposit for $5,000, $10,000 to a seller. And well, I know it was normal here because people still ask for them. And we're just like, absolutely not, especially if I'm representing obviously a buyer, but same with the seller. You don't want to have this responsibility for somebody else's money if it's not technically yours yet. So yeah, we use escrow, all those deposits, the entire purchase agreement, whatever that stipulates goes into that account. And then, yeah, even for our own compensation, we know that it'll come out of an escrow account. We don't have to rely upon a seller to send us an extra wire or anything like that. It just makes it simple and easy.
$5,000 or $10,000, are you referring to pre-construction, like a whole deposit?
I'm referring to an earnest money deposit. So something that takes that unit off the market from a developer, or in the case of a resale, takes it off the market from a seller.
Over here right now for pre-construction projects, usually like there's a one page for a lot of the projects, there's a one page reservation form, or we call it a purchase request. It just got the basic general details of the offer. And then once that's accepted, the developer usually requires typically $5,000 or $10,000 hold deposit. It's refundable.
Okay.
And then they generate the actual purchase sale agreement that gets sent out. Usually it's both in Spanish and English. The English is always a courtesy translation. If you ever go to court, the Spanish side prevails. So once that, 15, 20, 30 page contract is ready, then we have the attorney that's representing our buyer review and see if any modifications need to be made. And then once the buyer is good to go, and then there's a certain agreed upon down payment they have to put, and the $5,000 or $10,000 that they had previously put down gets applied towards that. But if the buyer decides to back out, then that $5,000 or $10,000 is wired back to the buyer. Now, for resale, usually the good faith deposit is 10% of the agreed upon price over here in Vallarta. That goes into escrow.
Ours, the only difference is typically with new development, they will wire in the $5,000 prior to making the offer, especially if it's coming through me. I understand if people go direct, then they might negotiate some stuff out before, but developers here typically require that deposit before the offer goes in. And then on the resale, they pretty much exactly as you explained, a higher priced property would typically require 10% going into escrow, but the rest is exactly as you described.
Now, we have an MLS system here in Vallarta. Do you guys have an MLS system along the Riviera Maya?
Nothing that you could say is law for all intents and purposes. There are we have what's called Broker Center for new inventory. That is a very great database. A gentleman, Manuel Hasso, created. Has done an amazing job. Kudos to him. Whereas when I first got started in real estate here, and there were like 10 or 15 new projects that you could remember off the top of your head, he's got mentally categorized like over 100 projects between Playa and Tulum. He's a juggernaut of information. What we typically navigate through the most are WhatsApp groups, which is a blessing and a curse because I'm in 20 WhatsApp for real estate, and it is overwhelming to say the least.
Yeah.
However, what I can do when I have a client, and this would be one element of the search that we would do on their behalf, would be, hey, I have a client looking for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, up to $300,000, and specify a location, any other specific requests that they have. And then you'll get a flurry of options back to you. And I would put that into several of those different groups. For a specific market like Puerto Aventuras, I would have to go beyond those WhatsApp groups and maybe go to a Facebook group for Puerto Aventuras. Maybe I'd walk around physically some of the real estate shops, offices in Puerto Aventuras, because a lot of those people aren't in these WhatsApp groups, because it's like I said, it's an established community. And if you don't know Puerto Aventuras, chances are you're not looking in there. You're not even telling clients about it. And if you are in Puerto Aventuras, and there are some agencies there and some agents who I know very well who've been there for 20, 25 years, and they're not looking elsewhere. They have no need to. They know the listings that are in town. So it's a specific community with Puerto Aventuras. But yeah, a lot of our work is done through these WhatsApp groups.
So for the public who's looking for inventory, it's going to be challenging for them to just kind of go online and start finding properties, basically, right?
Yes. Let me start with that, because you don't know the exact information nor the integrity of that information. One example that I can give you is there used to be point to homes in our area. Yeah. And you would have the same property listed by 3 different agents for 3 different prices. And that property may have been sold 3 years ago, and there's nothing regulating that. So that's where we would say that building a relationship with your agent is super important, and letting us be your eyes and ears for the area. Of course, we want people to do their own due diligence and go through other people's websites and fish through that stuff. But what we always say is, hey, if you find something that you like, take a screenshot, send us the link, let us help filter through some of these properties for you. Because at the same time, there are so many new developments in the whole area, not just Puerto Aventuras is pretty small. But if you're looking in Tulum, if you're looking in Playa, it's very difficult for us to keep track of what's been sold, what's not, what's new, all that fun stuff.
So it's important to go to a reputable agent and just find the inventory through them, because Point to Homes, I can tell you, and I had exclusive listing agreements signed with my sellers. It's in the MLS, and other agents who don't have any listings have basically stolen the information and then advertise it on Point to Homes as if it's their own listing.
Yep.
So you have to be really, really careful when you're searching online to make sure that the person advertising, the quote unquote agent that's advertising, is really the listing agent, and that information is accurate, because there's a lot of false information out there.
There is, and I'm sure you have felt the same feeling throughout the industry there, that in the last 5 years, there are so many agents that are doing this part-time. And, we play a game with some of our clients, and obviously they're in on it too, where it's say, hey, when you check into your hotel in Tulum or in Playa, chances are that receptionist is going to ask you what your plans are for your stay. Tell them that you're looking at real estate and see what they say. Because it's the same thing in restaurants, because all of those people are going to try to sell you something or send you to their friend, because they know that referral fee will cover a year's salary in some cases. And those are some of those bad stories that can end up happening here.
So in Vallarta, we have a lot of buyers that are investing in a rental property here, generating great income. And we actually also have a lot of Mexicans who are investing, who have saved up dollars, because in Vallarta, we're one of the few markets, dollar markets here. So they're buying in dollars, their property is appreciating in dollars, and they're renting it out in dollars. So it's a big win for them, which is wonderful. They get to invest in their own country. In Puerto Aventuras, what would you say are some of the most popular regions where people are buying rental properties?
So Puerto Aventuras itself is its own destination. So the nice thing about Puerto Aventuras is things rent out short term, I would say more likely during the high season, and they will definitely rent out long term.
When is the high season there?
High season specifically would be the end of December through Semana Santa, so April usually. And I think one of the unique aspects of the Riviera Maya, and I think you guys are at the same level with Puerto Vallarta, but I know other spots like Huatuco and maybe Puerto Escondido, some of the other destinations don't have the same luxuries that we have, which is really never having a true low season of the year where shops and restaurants literally need to close down. And I say that in the way that we have a peak during Thanksgiving, Canadian American Thanksgiving. There's a little bit of a lull during December, but then you have go through Easter. And then there's a little bit of a lull after that. And then you have summer. And during summer, the Europeans travel, or the Canadians are coming down, and they want to stay for weeks, if not months. So properties run well then. Then you have Labor Day, which we just passed. And what's funny is you have families that will travel for Labor Day. And then there's what you would expect to be a lull after them. But couples that don't have children, they want to travel when there aren't any kids around. So then they'll fill some properties too. So really, we do have a pretty solid, let's say, 10 to 12 month tourism season in the Riviera Maya. But yes, I think with investing in properties for rental income, the closer you are to the water, the nicer the property. Typically, they do rent best. Houses that are on the water are killing it right now, especially up and down our coast between Playa and Tulum. These are multi-million-dollar villas. At the same time, houses inside of Tulum are hosting, 4, 5, 6-bedroom homes that aren't multi-million-dollar properties to invest in. They're also renting very well for groups that want to travel down.
Okay, so speaking of money, let's talk about the cost of living. One of the big reasons why people are from the States and Canada, especially retirees, are moving to Mexico is they're trying to lower their overhead, especially when they're living on a fixed income. So if we can talk about, let's say, how much does it cost to go to a decent restaurant? How much does electricity for a 2-bedroom apartment, condo cost, gas, internet? Could you give us some of those breakdowns?
Sure. So internet, you're going to pay $25 a month, give or take. That's for good. I think I get 300 megabytes right in that range. We have a company called GigNet here. There's Telmex and there's GigNet, and they both have fiber optic. So that runs well. And then electricity, I'm a great prime example of what summer months look like right now, because I have 2 boys who are running their ACs every night, and we run ours too. Yeah. Here's the funny thing is, if you're obviously familiar with Celsius, we lived without AC for 10 years here. So we had floor fans. And it's not one of the reasons was in where we lived for quite a long time, didn't have AC. We had a window unit. It broke. I was like, hey, we're not going to do AC. Let's just do fans. And fans worked. So we are rare here, but to the point that when we do turn on our ACs, we sleep at night with it about 26, 27 degrees, which is, if I'm not mistaken, around 80 degrees. And so for most Americans, Canadians coming down, they have theirs in the low 20s and high teens, and that won't work for them. Regardless, our bill for the summer months will probably be about $125 a month. And that's us running ACs every night. I know during winter months that we won't use the AC at all, and it will go down to $25, $50 a month. So you have the range.
And grocery shopping. So you said you're a family of four.
Mm-hmm.
You go to grocery shopping, you stock up. What are we looking at?
If we go to Costco and we're stocking up for a month, then that bill looks like probably closer to $1,000, maybe a little less. And I have growing boys, so now they eat the same way that I do. So it's getting there. Regardless, I would say on a personal basis, when they travel a bunch for surfing, I mentioned earlier, when I'm by myself, it usually ends up being maybe $150 a week. So not, I don't know what the prices are in the States, but very, very reasonable. And for us, I would say. Eating out, you can usually eat at a nice restaurant, you would go for about $15 a person, $20 a person. Let me conceptualize that for you. In Puerto Aventuras, there are about 30 restaurants and cafes within the community. There are 3 gelato places. I don't know why there are 3, but 3 people were moved to open up gelaterias. So if you sit down at a restaurant, entrees are going to be about 200, 250 pesos. Add a drink on top of that. Now, if you're drinking cocktails, then they're going to get into 150 pesos each. So let's just say, drop to a beer, which would be 60 pesos, 50 pesos.
That's
you're going to get
$3.
Yeah, pretty reasonable prices, I think. And, you have specials. You have, I told you that we moved here when I would say that we were babies or kids. There are happy hours all over Puerto Aventuras, and we used to know the best deals and the best places. There's a place actually right next to where we live called Munchies, and they do Taco Tuesdays, and it's 3 tacos for 100 pesos for $5. And there's some other more traditional tacos al pastor restaurants. So yeah, you can eat very reasonably, I would say. Where if you're having drinks and all that fun stuff, you're going to end up being, let's say, $20 a person, $15, $20 a person.
That's
now,
great.
I say that you can go to higher end restaurants and you can spend $1,000 at dinner because you're eating Wagyu or you're ordering $200 bottles of wine. So you have both sides of the spectrum. And then on the other side of that, people live, and I think people forget that people live here on very little money a day. I think it's 130, 150 pesos for minimum wage now a day. And that's going to cover some meat, some rice, some beans, clean water, Coca-Cola. You can live super reasonably as well. So it's just a question of finding that balance of maybe you don't go out to eat every night. And yeah, I think we were bad at cooking for a while because we live right next to all these restaurants. But with the pandemic, I would say we cut back a bunch in 2020. And yeah, we were able to cook at home super, super inexpensively.
Well, yeah, I think just the cost of living in Mexico in general is a lot less, but you could definitely, like you said, there are a lot of high-end restaurants. You could easily spend a few $100 a night. So what's nice is the whole gamut is there and available for you, right? Especially if you have a family. So that adds up real quick.
It does. We ordered another plate last night, and so you want to talk about differences in prices? My son just spent a month in San Diego surfing with some friends, and he sent us some of his receipts, and they were healthy bills for going out and just everyday expenses, like sticker shockingly large versus what we have here. So yeah, very reasonable.
Well, I just got back from Los Angeles last weekend. And let me tell you, every single time I go there, it's more and more expensive. So I don't know how people do it, especially young people that are just entering the workforce or young couples that are starting families. The cost of living is just outrageous. So I don't know what's going to happen over there. So last question for you. There are a lot of people in the States and Canada sitting on the sidelines wanting to make this move, but for one reason or another, whether it's fear or doubt, or they're just too comfortable back at home and they're afraid to leave that behind and go into the unknown. What advice would you give someone who's just sitting on that sideline and wants to make that move? What's that one advice you can give them right now?
Open up the conversation south of the border. Talk to people who have done the move already and ask them for feedback. There are a wide variety of, let's say, social media groups that offer that. When we travel, even within Mexico, we jump into those groups to find little gyms and hole in the wall or special restaurants, all that fun stuff, great recommendations. But just getting onto those groups and saying, move to Mexico, or actually putting in a message in there and contacting some people. One thing that I will say, and it's very important when you're doing that, is 90% of the people who are the loudest on those groups would be miserable no matter where they lived. Because with that, there's always the people who they miss the forest for the trees. And so there are a lot of people who are very, very happy living here, who are not just in real estate and want you to come down because they're going to make a commission or they want to sell you something, but they're just going about their lives and aren't always going to comment on a Facebook group. But if you dig into those, I think a good first step is to speak with people who've done that already. Contact me. We're happy to help anybody with anything. And if there's a lot of the people who are honest with you, if they can't find the answer, they don't know the answer themselves, they'll refer to somebody who does. And I mean, basic things are look at immigration and the things that helps you with, because I think a lot of people forget that there are a lot of perks to having your residency here, especially living economically. All the big parks that are here in the Riviera Maya, Xcaret, and all of their parks, it is a fraction of the cost to go in as a local as opposed to going in as a tourist. So there's a lot of things like that where you just need to talk to people about it. Secondly, make the trip down, stay for a month. These are, when you look at this and what we're talking about, Taniel, is these are lifestyle moves. So as much as I want you to fly down or not even fly down and invest in a property, if you're going to spend significant amount of time here, you need to come down. You need to stay in the neighborhood, stay a month, 1 year, stay a couple months the next year, do that trial period before landing on the exact place that you're going to live full time. And then, yeah, that's where I think a lot of our clients that we worked with over time, they have that 5-year plan or maybe a 2-3 year plan. But yeah, you need to talk to people. You need to come down. Get your feet wet a little bit and before making that jump, unless it's just that bad where you are and you need to get out. I completely get that too. It boggles my mind. You being from LA and me being from Atlanta, you guys don't have too much of a winter out there at all. We have very minimal, we get equal seasons in Atlanta growing up. Those people who face 7-8 months of winter their entire lives, get down here as soon as possible. Don't even worry about that trial period. As soon as that weather turns, like now is the time to make that trip down. But yeah.
Great advice. Thank you so much, Andrew. So if somebody wants to get in contact with you, wants to find out more about real estate in Puerto Aventuras or the general region, what is the best way for them to reach out and get a hold of you?
So I have Colibri Property. I'm a partner here. I have a good buddy of mine. We both grew up in the industry together. We both moved down in 2009. Seen thousands of deals between us and have one another's back and our clients' back. Reach out to us through colibriproperty.com. If you click on that little WhatsApp button on the bottom right, it comes straight to my cell phone. And then all of the social media pathways there, just type in Andrew Schisler, and either through Facebook or Instagram, you'll find me. We have a YouTube channel. Pretty much we cover all aspects of social media. So yeah, feel free to reach out with anything.
Great. Well, we'll add those contact information in our notes so people can just kind of click and get a hold of you.
Awesome.
Andrew, thank you so very much for joining us today. I wish you all the best, and I hope to revisit with you real soon.
Awesome, Taniel. Thanks for the invite, and looking forward to that.
Take care. Thank you.
You too. Bye-bye.
Your retirement in Mexico starts right here, and we're excited to be part of your journey. Every episode, we bring you the magic of Mexico, insider tips, and expert advice to help you take that next big step with confidence. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. It helps others like you discover the endless possibilities waiting south of the border. Got a topic you'd like for us to cover? We'd love to hear from you. Send your suggestions to info@TanielChemsian.com. And remember, a life well lived isn't left to chance. It's created with intention. See you next time.